This video is insane. It's a little girl walking through Gavin Newsom's California. There's a little girl walking down the street and there's homeless people. It looks like drugs. It's disgusting. Watch this.
Go, baby. That's it.
Keep going, you're good.
The terrifying thing about this is they say that California is 5 years ahead of the rest of the country. That what happens there hits the rest of us. So we need good leadership. We need to win this culture war. Otherwise, that's our future. This video.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. Yeah, that's pretty shocking stuff. I mean, I'm kind of like upset with the parents for
this
having
video.
that little girl walk like that in front of.
This video is.
Like, if I was those parents, I'd be like, we're just gonna avoid this neighborhood, or we're gonna drive. But I mean, maybe they're walking to a parking lot. I don't know. It's pretty crazy though, but it might not just be 5 years. Apparently, if you see the title of our video, New Mexico deploys National Guard as a police force. So Democrat-run states deploying National Guard. It's like we got deployed, or I got deployed as National Guard in the winter, but that was for a severe winter storm. Not because we needed to police the streets, and this is crazy, man. Democrat-run states, they are crap holes, man. And the problem is, it's like, do you remember that time I posted one of our neighbor, I think one of our old neighbor, posted like something about Oregon, and I posted a Tim Pool video about how Oregon, they were trying to set buildings on fire in Oregon, and the person that lived there goes, "This person doesn't know what they're talking about. They're stupid." It's like, I live here. It's like. And that's the thing. It's the bias of people who live there. It's like whenever they were talking about the people, well, my car was only broken into 10 times last year, and like all of a sudden somebody goes, 10 times?
Yeah.
Like, to people who don't live there, that's like...
Well, that's the thing. It's like, even if you live there, if you don't live in the area that it's happening in, you're blind to it. It's like, oh, I don't see it.
Well, it's learned helplessness. It's like, if you live in a place that's crappy, and you don't have anywhere else to go, it's like, oh, it's just normal. It's like, oh, it's not bad. Everything's great, It's just a normal Friday. Sure, I got mugged 3 times, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what, I forget what it was, but we talked about it. Roaming Millennial talked about that with Actual Justice Warrior. Where he was just like, oh, she's asking, for places to move or traveling to New York. He's like, oh, this place is pretty safe. This place is pretty safe. And she's like, well, what do you mean by pretty safe? And he's like, well, people only get robbed here, X amount of times or whatever. And she's just like, she's like, that's horrifying. And him's like, no, it's just New York. It's just New York, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's the culture of the area you live in, which is surprising for Actual Justice Warrior, who's like, super crime statistic guy, but I guess he's lived there so long, it's like, oh, yeah, no, the statistics in this area.
If you've lived there your whole life, it is normal to you.
Yeah.
You're just like, this is normal. This is just New York, or this is just, New Jersey, wherever it happens to be.
It would be like if us here in Owasso, it's like if somebody got strong-arm robbed here in Owasso, you'd be like, what? Or it's like whenever there's a murder, you're like, what?
Yeah, well, think of how, shocking it was when that lady that had those kids come in, and then that old man or whatever it was shot them, and those are 3 kids and the adult woman that came in and were robbing. Just like this was horrifying. He's like, what are you doing breaking into people's houses?
Yeah,
just like everyone tried to turn around and make it like that man shouldn't have used force. He shouldn't use force of a gun. You shouldn't have broke into his house.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's crazy. It's the normalization of the culture of the area. So again, people who live in New York, people who live in California, like, what are you talking about? Honestly, it's like, or perfect example, even better. Whenever we went to that bachelor party down in Austin, and we're driving in the Uber car, and we're driving under the underpasses, and we just see miles and miles and miles of homeless camps, and we're like, dude, this is bad, bro. Like, is this normal? He was like, oh no, they cleaned it up. It actually looks a lot better.
It actually looks a lot better, and we were like, this looked better because it doesn't look great.
Yeah, it looked awful to us. You know what I mean? We're small town Owasso guy. I mean, I say mid small town, but still, it was just absolutely shocking. And it's amazing what culture a town can cultivate and how quickly it cultivates that kind of culture. It's like, oh, homeless people. It's like all of a sudden it's like, and then it's just normal for them to be So I mean, literally, like we went to a really fancy restaurant in Austin. Like there's like a crackhead like literally passed out on a stoop outside the restaurant.
Yeah. And we're talking like expensive too. We're talking like
Yeah,
it
it
broke
was
our bank.
$140 to eat
Mhm.
one meal. You know.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
So yeah, I mean, this is what we're talking about: the culture of criminality that just becomes normal overnight. It's crazy. And again, people that live there, they become. It's like if you live in a sewer area, it's like you become nose blind to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, it doesn't smell like crap over here. It's like you've never lived near a sewer. You're like, dude, it smells like crap over here. It's like, what are you talking about? I don't smell anything.
Argue like since we live near the railroad tracks, like like
We've got
someone who's never slept next to a railroad track, like that train woke me up, or like it woke you up. I didn't even know a train drove.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I'd know if it wrecked, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's absolutely crazy. It's amazing how quickly people adapt to things and think of it as normal. And like I said, we should never normalize crime ever.
Yeah. Or
Ever. I mean,
or
like,
homelessness.
we need to normalize things like this not being normal. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Normalize junkies in the streets not being a normal thing.
Yeah. But we'll get to the main article here, which this goes showing like this is not making mainstream news, but again, it's because we personally feel that it's because it's a Democratic run governor, it's a Democratic state, Democratic mayor probably. It says governor sends guard to assist Albuquerque police with crime amid state emergency. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham is sending dozens of National Guard troops to aid the Albuquerque police in a move intended to free up officers to focus more on fighting crime while declaring an emergency in the state's largest city. So they have declared a state of emergency. Excuse me. The assistants inform from 60 to 70 guardsmen, which we'll just go high end and say it's 70 guardsmen, come from March 31st. Request from from Albuquerque Police Department Chief Harold Medina for military to fulfill non-law enforcement duties such as providing security at a crime scene, perimeters, and transporting prisoners, among others. The community must see the New Mexico National Guard members not as a military force, but as a trained professionals dedicated to supporting and protecting the residents, Medina said in a letter to the governor. And during the news briefing Tuesday, Albuquerque Mayor Tim Keller said that the guardsmen will be unarmed and wear polo shirts instead of their uniforms and will not be involved in any community interactions or use military.
Gay.
I know, right?
What the heck? Like, dude, if you're deploying me, I'm going to be wearing my damn uniform. Yeah. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, I said I want my IOTV or my bulletproof vest, and I want my uniform on. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we actually are friends with a bunch of the guys because we went to OCS with them. Yeah, and we know a bunch of these guys that are doing this right now.
Yeah, I know at least we know the officers run the show down there in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, and this goes to show you like how bad New Mexico really is. I mean, how bad the crime. I mean, that's why we started with that video showing all that homelessness and like just drug asking. Clearly, Albuquerque, New Mexico has problems like this because they declared a state of emergency and they're deploying the National Guard. I mean, that goes to show you like they're like, oh well, at least they're not doing like actual policing roles. They're going to be in their uniforms and carrying their rifles and stuff. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, what's going on that crime is so bad in Albuquerque that they need to deploy the National Guard? And two, that also shows that they have a police recruiting problem. Why in the earth do they need to deploy the National Guard when they could just be like, let's just hire more officers?
Well, it's because I'll tell you why. You know exactly why they're having trouble recruiting police, especially in Democrat states. Every cop since Derek Chauvin, every cop since that day, since George Floyd, knows that their station does not have their back.
Yeah.
If they are in any questionable, sometimes even unquestionable circumstance, like the Derek Chauvin thing, like when you have the full context, like he asked to be put on the ground, he asked to be taken out of the car and laid down on the ground. Like once you realize that the police officers, that you officer, who the average Joe officer who's doing your job, you are the sacrificial lamb. Mm-hmm. If the station will be like, yeah, no, we'll throw him under the bus. Same in fraternity. It's like there could be an innocent dude in a fraternity that's involved in something that's scandalous. It's like, dude, we just got to throw him under the bus because somebody's got to take the fall for this crap. Mm-hmm. Somebody always has to take the fall. Like when the media picks up stories and then falsifies information or it gets ahead of what actually happened. People want blood. The mob must be satisfied. That's what's wrong with society, man.
Yeah, truly is. Medina said the initiative in the pilot project has been in the works for months after the New Mexico National Guard offered help, and one of the departments will measure to determine its success. He said that the guardsmen will have some authority to fulfill the same roles as police service aides, who often can be seen blocking traffic around crime scenes. He said guardsmen would also take place in officers securing the courthouse, airports, and other facilities, as well as provide medical support for those who on the streets along East Central. The assistance would free up about 20 to 30 officers for law enforcement and crime fighting, he said, adding that some officers have to hold scene perimeters for several hours. So again, at least they're it's not doing detective work and all that, but hey, again, this is basically like Army, like pulling security. Like, you're just gonna stand here and look pretty. Well,
yeah, you're gonna pull security, boy. Yeah, they'll be in battle buddy teams, I imagine. But yeah, it's sad. And here's my question: how are they getting there? Like, are they just gonna bust you out there? Like, all right, stand by. That would piss me off. Like, let me take my civilian
Are they riding
car.
with an officer and then being set there? I mean, since they're not getting their own vehicles, that is good questions. I'm sure that they've got an SOP or something going on for it.
You know what? I really doubt it. Like,
So
whoever's
they're
doing
making
this,
something right now.
They're making it right there on the spot for sure.
The Albuquerque Police Department showed off their quarterly statistics and indicated a large decrease in crime compared with 2024. Yeah, that's because, it's coming off the Trump thing, and everybody's like, they're about to start. Democrats are not in power anymore, and they're going to start enforcing laws now. The extra help could those numbers get even further down. What we want to do is double down on what's working, and what's working is technology and civilians. Freeing up officers to fight crime and keeping those statistics down is in this powerfully good direction, Keller said. A short-term way to help with that is by the National Guardsmen helping out. Another bonus, Keller said, is the city doesn't have to pay for the guardsmen, and it won't impact the Albuquerque Police Department's budget. On Monday, Lujan Grisham, I think she literally did that to sound Hispanic. Lujan, yeah, she used her middle name. Grisham signed an executive order to direct up $750,000 to be made available for deployment of guardsmen needed to provide military support to civil authorities as needed for this emergency. The safety of New Mexicans is my top priority, Lujan Grisham said. In a news release Tuesday, announced the order. By deploying our guardsmen to the support APD with essential duties, we are ensuring that the trained police officers can focus on what they do best, keeping our communities safe. This partnership represents our commitment to addressing the fentanyl crisis and juvenile crime with every resource at our disposal. The governor's executive order left a timeline for the New Mexican National Guard's presence open-ended, but said that they would arrive in mid-May, according to the release address. Ongoing public safety challenges in the city, particularly along Central Avenue corridor and other Pacific areas. Their training to assist the APD already underway under supervision by the New Mexico Department of Homeland Security, Department of Public Safety, and State Police, and the Albuquerque Police Department. The release states. Medina and Keller could not give a timeline on how long the guardsmen would be needed, but Medina said the hopes of getting about 1,000 officers with currently around 850 by the time the New Mexican National Guard leaves. So they are trying to hire new police officers while this is happening.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, like, good cops are not going to want to come to Albuquerque. They're just not, because they know that it's a liberal town with a Democrat governor, a Democrat mayor. They know that those stations are going to throw them under the bus on any time there's a questionable circumstance. It's like, hey, this was a disputed shooting. It's like, well, we're not going to be on your side. We're going to prosecute you to the full extent of the law, lock you up like Chauvin.
Yep. A Republican lawmaker and advocacy organization decried that the plan on Tuesday for a different reason. Senator Nicole Tobison Republican Albuquerque said that the city's crime crisis and lawlessness is a testament to the absolute failure of Mayor Tim Keller and his progressive policies. It is.
She's right.
Yeah, she is. She is 100% right. It's sad that its own police chief had to go over his head and seek resources in order to try and keep up with the rampant violent crime. And that's exactly what we were talking about. Like I said, it's the mayors pretending like the problem doesn't exist while the police chiefs and other officers are begging for help. They're like, we need more support. And then it's like, so he literally, you just heard that right there. He had to jump the mayor to go to the governor to get support. He's like, we need help. And this is Democrats, again, putting their hands in their ears and covering their eyes and going, la, 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 this isn't happening.
And this is the type, and don't get me wrong, like, these guard soldiers, they're probably actually tickled pink about this. Like, they probably live for doing something like this. They're getting active duty pay, being out there. Like, they're eating it up. So, and it's going to be people who live in that local community or nearby or suburbs nearby. They're not going to deploy somebody from across the state unless, they need an officer in charge who doesn't live nearby. Like, the officer's the one who's going to get hosed, not the local Joes. So, but or they'll probably have guys who have some kind of police or security experience in there as well. Like, is there anybody in your unit? And that's what's so cool about the Guard. Like, literally, like, they're smart about who they pick and choose to go and do these things. It's like, hey, I got like 6 guys who are security officers. I got 6 police officers who don't live in Albuquerque who could probably go and help. So, they'll do it, or they can be like, oh, this is just something that any private could do. Yeah. So it's really neat, like how the Guard weaponizes people. It's like we're not gonna have you drive across the state if we can help it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get back to it. Blah, 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 where I said try to keep up with our crime, blah, blah, blah. And gang violence that plagues our city, she said in the news release. Mayor Keller and the progressive Democrats' failed leadership in Albuquerque have made our community a literal war zone and must change the course before not even a state resources can combat the chaos allowed in Albuquerque. Man, I did not realize that Albuquerque was that bad. At least by that statement, it makes it sound god-awful there.
Yeah, and again, these people who live there are probably like, what are you talking about? It's not that bad here. But again, it's learned helplessness. They're nose blind. They're scent blind to the poop that they're living in,
Exactly. That's what we're talking about. Daniel Williams, policy advocacy at the American Civil Liberty Union of New Mexico, said in a release that the assistance was a show of force, not a show of solutions. History shows that the military collaboration with law enforcement often leads to increased civil rights violations, radical profiling, and criminalization of vulnerable populations, particularly those experiencing homelessness and poverty, he said. The governor's past policy proposal to often have centered on efforts to criminalize institutional unhoused and New Mexicans without commensurate emphasis on solving the root cause of crime.
Sounds like somebody's making excuses.
Yeah, exactly. Why do they always go? It's like, we need to solve the root measure. It's like, no, people were criminals before they were poor.
Yeah.
There are people who are criminals that aren't poor, and vice versa. Medina assured during a briefing that the guardsmen do not have law enforcement authority and cannot take law enforcement action. I just don't want this to turn into, oh my God, the National Guard is here to save the city. No, the National Guard is here to clear up officers, he said. At the end of this 60-day legislation, LeJean Grisham said she'd planned to call lawmakers back to Santa Fe for special session focused on juvenile crime and gun violence. She indicated Tuesday that such a session would not be immediate, following talks with legislative leaders over the last 2 weeks. What did you say?
Switch cameras.
Oh, sorry. Whoops. Forgot it wasn't on me. The executive order comes from heels of the back-to-back operations along East Central and tackle crime, particularly fentanyl use. The Albuquerque Police Department had its own operations started late last year, and currently New Mexican State Police, the Bernalillo, I don't know how to say that, County Sheriff Office, and the 2nd Judicial District Attorney's Office have ongoing operations to tackle crime in the area. Both have been declared success by respective agencies, with hundreds of arrests being made. Those agencies undertaking the latter continue the operations that nothing will change on their end. Nancy Laughlin, a spokeswoman for the 2nd District Attorney's Office, said Operation Route 66 had netted 400 arrests over 7 weeks, recovering dozens of guns, stolen vehicles, she added. But, of course, we appreciate any and all help from law enforcement as we continue to clean up the streets of Albuquerque. Deputy Deanna Argonago, or said Aragon,
Aragon.
BCSO spokesperson said that the agency appreciated the governor's concern and her efforts to support public safety. We are already seeing measurable success through Operation Route 66, coordinated efforts that is producing real results. The numbers speaks for themselves, Argon said. We will continue doing the work that keeps our streets safe every day. This is not the first time that Lujan Grisham has declared an emergency over crime issue or dispatched reinforcements to Albuquerque streets with mixed results. In September of 2023, Grisham declared a public health emergency over gun violence spurred by the fatal shooting of an 11-year-old boy. She ordered firearm ban in public places in Bernalillo, whatever county, and was quickly challenged in court, blocked by a federal judge. And in 2019, Grisham dispatched dozens of New Mexican state police officers to Albuquerque for the Metro Surge operation after the University of New Mexico baseball player Jackson Weller was fatally shot in Nob Hill. The operation came under scrutiny when prosecutions fell apart because the officers who came from all over the state didn't show up to hearings. Unlike those initiatives, the executive order came from the request of the Albuquerque Police Department, which in recent years touted its officers' success in keeping crime on the decrease or level, while also making more arrests. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Like, they have to drive halfway across the state to go to court, you know. They have to just release the criminal at that point because there's no witness or whatever.
Yep.
That's crazy. Oh, man. We asked if the situation constituted a true emergency, Medina said. On a weekly basis, I looked at all the media stories. I hear the crime crisis. I hear crime is out of control. So I would say that there is a perception that there is an emergency in the community that is out there. In a letter to Grisham, Medina wanted to keep the momentum up by the Albuquerque police officers and expressed the need to have them on the streets, not driving prisoners to metropolitan detention centers or providing security at city facilities and courthouses. The guardsmen could also be used for helping document filing and organization of the Albuquerque Police Department cases for prosecutors, operating drones and distributing food, water, and aid to vulnerable populations. Yeah, so they're going to just throw them to do paperwork.
No. Full security, but keep me out of the office. No. That's why I joined the Guard, to stay out of the office.
If you get out there, standing out there for 5 hours securing a scene, maybe filing some papers in some air-conditioned office would be pretty relief after a while.
I guess. Yeah.
Medina wrote that deploying the New Mexico National Guard in these roles would enable the Albuquerque Police Department to relocate many resources more effectively, sustaining continuous enforcement and essential services 24 hours a day. He called the reinforcements critical to improving public safety and quality of life for Albuquerque residents. We're hoping it's going to be effective, but if it's not, we'll just keep sending people home, Keller said. Invited these folks in to see if the program will help Albuquerque. If it is helpful, we may look at this in other areas. And that's it. So, yeah. Sounds like there is a huge crime problem in Albuquerque, New Mexico, brought on by the Democratic Party and the mayor and
Democratic
the
leadership. It's weak Democrat leadership is causing these states, cities, and towns to fall apart.
And then that's why we pull this up real quick. Is like, you can see here, what state over here is the only couple of states that turned blue in the middle of the country. And as we can see,
New Mexico.
It was literally Colorado and New Mexico.
Yep. Boom. There you go, guys. You wonder why the Guard's being deployed to assist local police officers in town like Albuquerque? That's why. You have weak Democratic mayors, weak Democratic leadership, weak Democratic states. Democrats make things worse everywhere they go. You have to have tough on crime leaders, period. Like, criminality must be persecuted and prosecuted.
Yep.
Otherwise, you cultivate a culture of sympathy towards the criminals. You ignore the victims And you go, well, the only reason these criminals were doing stuff is because they're innocent baby angel Aladdins and they just need bread to eat. That's why they stole those speakers, because they needed bread.
Yeah. I said, like, everyone just happens to forget that people were criminals before they were poor. And not all poor people are criminals. So it's not poverty. Everyone's like, it's always like, poverty is the reason why they're stealing. It's like, no. If that was if they're starving, like I said, the whole Aladdin trope is he's stealing bread to eat.
Yeah, again,
not stealing, not stealing cars and freaking TVs, because that's because it's just something that they want. It's not because they need it.
Poverty is the reason people steal nonsense. It's like it'd be like saying like poverty or, what's the reason people do drugs? Because there are plenty of successful people who get hooked on drugs. I mean, didn't they like interview like a lawyer or something who was like went through a divorce or whatever? It was like it was depression and not having purpose anymore is the reason they started doing drugs and became homeless.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's what it is.
It's either mental health or it's like some form of like Great Depression where they've lost like everything.
Or in most, I say the reason most people get on drugs, it's boredom.
Yep.
They have a lack of purpose in their life.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So that's my 2 cents on it.
Anyway, we'll get back to some of the more lighter stuff and get to the memes now that we've kind of broke in all that. Let's see here. All right, let me see what we got here. I have to shrink this one up a bit, I believe. No, I broke it.
I just 3D printed.
We saw that one the other day. I'm gonna have to shrink all these. All right. Yeah, so still going on. People are getting their Teslas keyed up, and it's people who were trying to save the climate. This guy right here got his Tesla all keyed up, and he bought this Tesla like 6 years ago to fight climate change. And now look at him. I can't get the volume to work. There we go.
Got one of their own. This liberal guy says he bought his car to help fight climate change. It's a Tesla. And someone keyed it up. Yeah, watch the video.
Check it out, guys. Somebody keyed the crap out of my Tesla, a car I bought 6 years ago in the state of California, because I'm concerned about climate change. Oh, but some amazing resistance fighter keyed the crap out of it, and that's gonna do it. Voting didn't work, but this defiling the car of a fellow liberal, we did it, guys. We got him. Today's our Liberation Day. Go celebrate. Just go celebrate. Woo!
They got one of their own. This liberal guy says he...
So, again, the people who were so gung-ho that climate change is real and is affecting the environment are destroying Teslas.
See what happens when you don't have faith in something, when you don't have a religion, when you don't have a God to answer to? Climate becomes your God. Some activist cause becomes your God. Like, you can get hyper involved in that, and it becomes your life. And if you don't solve it in your lifetime, you failed serving your God. It's like, again, I mean, this is why we really need to return to Christianity in this nation. We need to return to Christ in this nation, man. That purpose will drive you significantly better than, the climate or economics or anything else like that.
Mm-hmm. Then you sent me these ones, and these ones I think are great. It says, I'm trying to get swole. Can you give me some testosterone? No, it's illegal. If you use testosterone, it induces physical changes in your body. I feel like a boy this week. Here's your testosterone. Only said, here is testosterone. Oh, wise one. Oh, wise one.
Oh, here's your testosterone, oh, wise one. Mm-hmm. You know so well that you are a woman today or a boy tomorrow. Again, guys, this right here is, I mean, how perfect is that? Like, sorry, you're a competitive lifter. You can't use that stuff. It's bad for you.
Yeah.
It's like, but here's a little kid. I think I'm a girl now. It's like, oh, here you go. You are just wise beyond your years,
or
child.
In this case, it's a woman who thinks she's a boy. Like, I need testosterone. Golly.
Crazy, man.
Next one here. I like this, considering that we just had Easter yesterday. Remind me, how many AR-15s did Jesus own? From David Hogg. And then best responses from this Britton Wolf. Not enough to stop himself from being murdered by the government.
So true. So true. Gotta love it, man. Don't use Christianity, David Hogg. We all know you're not a believer.
Yeah. Then we got this one right here. Says your president it's a Canadian saying your president is a bully and a dictator. Yeah. Says Trudeau literally froze people's bank accounts of peaceful protesters. You know, the truckers that went down to frickin'
The anti-vaccine passport truckers, yeah, they were not having it, and Trudeau froze their bank accounts. I mean, that's authoritarian. That's dictatorship. Trump didn't do anything like that.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Then there's this one right here. And this sums up, again, liberals, like I said, using our, logic against, using Christian logic and all that. Like I said, when they don't have Christian principles, it's Luigi Mangione did what had to be done. Some justice can't wait for the courts. And then we have them crying about that guy, the Maryland man being deported.
The MS-13 Maryland man.
No, where's the due process? This isn't right.
Yeah, no, he got due process 4 times, and they never ruled in his favor. He just got a stay of absence one time with the last judge, which didn't mean he could stay here forever.
Then you sent me this one. European kids, I can't wait to grow up. And Muslims in Europe stabbing the living crap out of him.
Volume it.
Okay, there's volume?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
How true is that, man? How true is that? Like, I mean, remember that adolescent show that they just put out? It's like, this is, I wanted to do a thing because there's so many young men doing knife attacks now. I just want to, and again, who was the villain? It was a white British boy, not the actual culprits of the vast majority of knife crime in the UK. It's like, it's all been Islamic, people of color immigrants. It's like, again, they don't share your culture, they don't share your values. So of course, I mean, they think that their cult religion is superior to yours. They got the final revelation from God, and if you don't believe or you don't follow their word, you kafir, they have every right to kill you.
Yep. Which brings me to this next one. Which this one's irrelevant because the same people crying about misinformation surrounding the Kamarla Ethne case still believe that Kyle Rittenhouse shot 3 black kids.
Yeah, I mean, you could pull up the video of his like PR guy touting that lie.
He did. I don't have that one. I should have brought that one pulled up too. But this is one of this guy that brings on all of these, black activists. Some of them I think are conservatives as well, black conservatives, but the black activists are the ones just spreading misinformation about this. And like, here we go. You can listen to this. This girl, this is the guy right here in the middle with the glasses. He's running it. The kind of bald guy with the glasses. Not sure who he is, but I like him. It says here, this is the Right-Winged Angel channel or something like that.
Say one thing. I just want to answer your question. Who killed who or whatnot. Kyle Rittenhouse was 17 years old, white boy that murdered two or three black kids in Michigan during a protest. He was acquitted on all charges. Jordan Penny, I think that's his name. He choked out that black homeless man on a train in New York recently, was also acquitted of charges. So, and I guess
neither one of those was killed. Stop.
You know, but he was pointing out like why there could be. I know you don't think it's true, but there could be like a sense of white power supremacy in this country, because sometimes when white people do certain crimes, they're not held to the same extent as black people or other people do. And so, say one thing. Just one thing. You were asking him to give names. I gave you 2, and one was actually the same age as the guy, the black boy that just killed the white guy. And he was acquitted of all his charges. He was also a 17-year-old white boy in Wisconsin.
Happens all the time.
And it's like, well, why was he acquitted when he actually murdered someone? You all are saying that,
because they didn't murder anybody.
You were asking him.
Because they didn't murder anybody. And then we have here are the 3 black kids that she was saying who they were. Anthony Huber, Joseph Rosenbaum, and Gage Grosskreutz. Anthony Human shot and killed. Rosenbaum shot and killed. Both of them were convicted like assaulters, and like one of them like a child assaulter, sexual assaulter. Then Gage Grochkois, who was accused of brutalizing his girlfriend, and he had his part of his arm vaporized off.
Yeah, he
And
did.
None of them.
He pulled a gun on Kyle too.
Yeah, and none of them are black. They're all white, and they're not kids. They were all adults attacking a 17-year-old
Again,
kid.
that's a perfect example of the tribalism in the black community that we're talking about. Like, they would rather believe lies than see the truth. Because it suits our narrative. If Kyle Rittenhouse shot and killed, unjustifiably killed 3 black people, it makes everything they say about him. Like, I mean, I guarantee that's what LeBron James thinks. Like, LeBron James goes, "Look at this kid fake crying in court." I mean, remember when he made that post?
I do remember.
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, that's what they want. They want their narrative to be right so badly they don't care about the truth right in front of their eyes.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to get into like LeBron James, like the school that he made, where like people are being killed
left
and like
and right.
it has like the
0% literacy rate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like. Yeah, maybe if you made like a basketball program, it would have been better. Not a school.
Yeah.
Anyway, then we got what else we got?
LeBron James' school for kids who can't read good.
Do this one next. You sent me this one, and it's pretty good. I like it, but it's talking about how again more Democratic hypocrisy. It said he's talking right here about Letitia James, who was suing Trump for saying his asset for overcharging what his assets were on his hotels, when she is literally did the exact same thing for a home to get a home loan, to secure a home loan for a house that she has in Virginia. And guess what? She has that listed as her primary residence. She's technically not allowed to be the AG of New York with her primary residence
Being 700 miles away.
Mm-hmm. So check this out. And this is what's this officer's name? You said Officer Tatum, right? Okay. No shit.
Black people that falling for the sauce, getting paid to prosecute Donald Trump for no reason. Now look at what she caught up in.
Well, she was the prosecutor who won a $454 million civil fraud case against President Trump. But now the Trump administration is turning the tables on her for the very same thing. New York State Attorney General Letitia James now faces a criminal referral from the Federal Housing Finance Agency, accusing her of fraud to get lower mortgage rates. James, whose public salary is $222,000 a year, has obtained home loans for several properties with claims that are apparently false. In 2023, papers show she claimed a house in Norfolk, Virginia as her primary residence. That qualifies for a lower mortgage rate. But at the time she's been serving in public office in Albany, New York, that's 500 miles away. She bought another building with her father as co-signer, calling herself his wife. And the referrals also show that she bought this brownstone in Brooklyn, New York, but misrepresented the number of units in it. That lowered the mortgage rate there, too.
Can you believe that? She's doing all of this against Trump. She's doing press conferences. She ran for office and said, "I will make sure we go after Trump. Nobody's above the law." And she doing fraud. She knows she did fraud when she put the application in. She knows she lied about the unit numbers, allegedly. She talking about she her daddy wife and so they can get a mortgage loan. This broad, if she was actually living 500 miles and she's supposed to be living over here and she's illegally serving in New York, I hope she go to jail. I told y'all, ladies and gentlemen, we were going to do it big for the first time in history.
But yeah, there you go. If I had to summarize this video in one word, I'd say, or one sentence or one phrase, rules for thee, but not for me. That is the Democrat motto. Rules for thee, but not for me. She's accusing Trump. She's trying to prosecute Trump for all the same things she did. Well, nobody's going to check my records because I'm in a position of power. I mean, it's absolutely insane, folks. Absolutely insane. And here we are. And now she's going to have to live in the fallout of this. She's, probably dotting her T's, covering all of her bases to try to weasel her way out of this. And there'll be lots of black activist groups that come out and going, well, she's only being prosecuted because she's a person of color and Trump's a racist.
Yeah.
That's the angle they're going to go because that's the only thing they can play now.
Yep. And then there's this next one, and I just found this extremely fascinating. This guy kind of like hits the nail on the head or whatever, like perfectly, I think, for what's really going on and why we're so divided now more than ever. And talking about where the divide is coming from, it's coming from college-educated women.
Yeah.
So check this out.
College educated women the biggest bias against President Trump. And so college educated men not having that same disparity there. So there's something happening in our universities that's more successful in convincing women to think one way than it is convincing men to think one way. And I think that if you look at that gives us an idea as conservatives about where we should be focusing our energies. Let's not maybe fight the losing battle trying to convince people after they graduate. Let's get on the campuses and fight these battles where they're being waged and where the propaganda really is. And I think we're getting better at that. College education.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that, because it's like we said, like if you go back and watch like debates with like Milton Friedman and Thomas Sowell with college professors and students on campuses like way back in the day. Like, it's the exact same conversation that they're having today, that Ben Shapiro and all these other people like Charlie Kirk that are going on college campuses and, like, what's his name, Steven Crowder, are having today. And guess what? The professors and the students that were arguing against them stayed in the universities. They became the professors to teach and indoctrinate the youth.
So Milton Friedman, Thomas Sowell, the guys that won the debates, the guys that won the day. I mean, I think, what's her name? The feminist talks about this. What's her name? Christina Hoff Sommers, is that her? They all said this, because we won the debates, but the women and the people that lost got tenureship. So people like Milton Friedman and Thomas Sowell went on to become partners, or like great critical thinkers at think tanks and stuff, at private organizations that paid them well. When all these college professors who they were debating just stayed in the colleges and kept pumping out their crappy ideas to all their kids, to all the students that they had. And then they got their zealots and their believers, and then people who couldn't articulate their ideas as well. And that's what you get today with the groups like Antifa. That's what you get with, all of this, all this black identitarianism stuff. That these people don't think that well. They can't articulate their ideas very well, but it's all about group identity. Mm-hmm. And that's what's so sad, man. I mean, like, they allowed these people to stay in these universities and crap out these horrible philosophies. But I mean, again, that's what happens when you have people who will use our laws and our free speech against us.
Why do you think the joke came from, those who can't teach?
Yeah.
That's literally the phrase. Like, if you suck at what you do, you become a teacher of it.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's what all communism is. It's a failed philosophy, it's a failed ideology, it's a failed practice, but every time they just go, well, we'll just stay here where they'll pay us. Again, they're all mad about not making enough money. It's like, oh, they're stealing my labor and wages. It's like, dude, you're a teacher. You sit in front of a class and you just lecture to them.
Exactly. I said, but it's the other part of it too. Is like most teachers, as we've pointed out, like activists go to become teachers because they're not good at anything else. It's
exactly.
Like they want to get the bare minimum to where they can just go run around and do activism stuff. Think about it. Teachers have off almost the exact same days that kids do. They have a few extra work days than kids because they have the teacher days, or where we have to go make our plan and have our meetings and stuff. But teachers have like pretty much all the vacations that kids do.
Yep. So they get to go off on holiday at the same time as the kids, and if they're smart, they'll get a second job and work during that time where they're not being a teacher. But a lot of them don't have to, because they'll just go to activists and protest things and be like, I'm protesting for higher wages for teachers. It's like, well, you could have a secondary job.
Yeah. Said, you know that most other jobs you work year-round?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, it's just one of those things where it's like...
We work corporate. Like, the only days off, we don't get any holidays off besides, like, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and, like, what else? Like Labor Day?
Yeah. I mean, apparently today is Easter Monday, and they're, like, I mean, my fiance and her sister are still here in town, and their kids, she had my niece had a sleepover with a friend. They're out of school right now. I'd never heard of Easter Monday.
Yeah, that wasn't something that we had when we were kids.
Yeah.
So, but here's this last one. This last one's kind of relevant to what we were talking about with the new Maryland man deported, and it's like the new guy on CNN, that new guy that's the conservative guy on CNN, just whoops up on them every day. It's like ridiculous.
They're all lying about the illegal immigrant from El Salvador who was deported to El Salvador. But Scott Jennings gives him the smackdown on CNN. Check this out.
It's an error and it was a mistake. So this, I think you're speaking about their public view of the case.
I'm telling you that their view of it is that public. It's an El Salvador citizen who was sent back to El Salvador, who was in the country illegally, who, according to some people in his long process, which does include an existing deportation order, believes that he has an affiliation with MS-13. As I said, there's no version of this man's life where he comes back. And let me say one more thing. The people that want him brought back need to understand something. If the president of El Salvador releases him, and we do facilitate his return, when he lands in this country, one of two things will happen. He will be arrested, and then he'll either be sent back to El Salvador, where he is now, or some other country that I promise you don't want to go to. He's not going to be allowed to come back and live in this country as though he is a U.S. citizen. He is not.
They're all...
Yes, they've been lying about this guy for days, saying that he is a new Maryland man.
Maryland man.
Yeah, Maryland man. Like
Maryland, father of four, working class man. Again, it's like what my buddy posted the other day. It's like working class father of three,
but
deported.
This is what we talk about when we talk about the media covering stuff up. This is them painting a narrative that Trump will deport citizens, and that's what the media is running with because they're lying. Yeah, they want to get the activist class up in an uproar.
Weaponized. Mm-hmm. They want you afraid. They want you scared. They want to control the narrative. They want you up in arms. They want you freaking out about stuff that doesn't actually matter. They're trying to whip you up in a frenzy. They're trying to keep people watching their news networks because their networks are failing and dying. Mm-hmm. You know, like imagine if more people tuned into us just giving this kind of social commentary, and the only thing we did was read articles that they posted. You know, it's like, and then critique and be like, this sounds like bullcrap. If we use our just common sense to be like, hey, this is kind of dumb.
Yeah. Not only is it dumb, it's actually actively lying to you or getting stuff willfully wrong or leaving out. And that's the other thing we talked about. I said with the editor's notes and stuff, like leaving stuff out willfully. It's like what we talk about with people all the time. It's not what they're telling you. It's what they're completely leaving out of the narrative.
And the people, and when they write these articles, when they say he's a Maryland man, we all know that's a lie, but it's not technically a lie. Like they're getting away with stuff based on, it's like lawyer words. It's weasel language. They're saying he is a man who lives in Maryland, so we can call him a Maryland man. But he's not a citizen. He's just an illegal immigrant. And remember, they don't even like it when you use the word illegal alien. Like, I mean, he's, again, that's why Tim Pool says they are criminal, illegal aliens. You know, it's like they go, you mean an immigrant. He's an immigrant to our country. They don't like it when you use these words because they don't like the truth. They don't want you to, that's hurtful language. It's like, well, I mean, if the language is correctly identifying what that thing is or what that person is, then it's not hurtful language. It's truthful language. But that's what they want. They want the truth to hurt so bad that we have to rewire how we speak and use different words in order to not offend people.
100%.
It's a joke, man. Yep. It's a joke.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point is like why the left is always so like focused on how you use your language. Like if you change the meaning of words, it's no longer the same word. Like you've completely changed. I mean, it's literally Orwell's, you know, that's not how we use that. We just changed the language. I mean, that's literally what the left is doing. The right has been using the same language for years, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we don't like it. We don't like when things change. That's the joke is like conservatives are afraid of change. Yeah, because the change can be evil.
Yeah, the change can be bad. Remember, evil, silence is good. Evil preaches tolerance until it overtakes it, until it's empowered. Then it tries to silence good. That is what's going on right now. That's what's going on in our society. So I think that's about all we've got for you today. Yeah. This is the Twins with Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. That is all we've got for you today. God bless you.
See you later, everybody.
You're trying to say that, from what I'm understanding, in third world countries, anything that is not under maintenance is because, you know, we don't care.
No, you care. It's not in the concept. Travel the 54 countries in Africa and ask each person in every country, what is wrong with your country? Leadership. Leadership. All of you say the same word. So let me ask you, since 19 1960. The country has been picking the wrong leader every 4 years. Not a single railway built by the British is in Nigeria today, but the one they built in their country that same year, it's still running. Not a single railway built in Ghana in 1960 is still there today. What do you know in that country that has been properly maintained by the people every day and it works perfectly?
It's hard for people to maintain things when they're not gaining a lot.
No. It's hard for people to maintain things when they don't have the concept of maintenance in their culture. What is the one word in Igbo for maintenance?
Maintenance is there's no direct English word for that. It doesn't translate directly to maintenance.
That's correct. How about you?
It doesn't translate.
That's correct.
But it translates to like take care of.
No, that's not maintenance. What is the one word for repair in Igbo?
Imezie.
Exactly. What is the one word for repair in You see, I'm driving you to somewhere. What is the one word for democracy in Igbo language? You don't. How about you? You don't. You're trying to practice something that is not in the concept of the language. There is no African country, and I've done it through Kenya, I've done it all, that has an equivalent of the word maintenance.
Well, in order to maintain something, you have to have it first, correct?
No, if I leave it for you, you can maintain it. The British left a lot of things in this country when they left. They established the hospitals, they established the fire stations, the post offices, the railway lines, the roads they built before they left. You are not able to maintain it because you don't have that concept. Because your environment, the tropical environment of Africa, the way you build your houses, the material you use, you don't require maintenance. Every country that is called industrialized countries, today, one of the things you know about them is maintenance of what they have. That's why we have buildings here that are about 250 years old, 300 years old in this country. There are buildings in other countries of Europe that are 700 years ago. The Notre Dame that burned in France was a 13th century building. Do you know what kept it that long till today? Maintenance is a culture.